जातानि भुवनानि विश्वा यो अहिंसकानि भूतानि हिनस्ति आत्मसुखेच्छया स्वजीवांश्च मृतश्चैव न कचित् सुखमेधते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
In the indigenous way, the animals are very sacred.
Jains regard the animal kingdom with the utmost care.
Judaism considers all life to be sacred.
The Sikh religion recognizes and respects the sacredness of all life.
In the Baha'i faith,
As a Christian,
In Buddhism,
Islam,
Hinduism,
Brahmakumaris,
The Zoroastrian religion considers all of God's creations as sacred.
Every living entity is sacred in God's eyes.
Every faith at its heart has a mandate to be compassionate.
As a compassionate people, our job is to be loving and compassionate to all that God has created.
My people, my native people, when they pray for everyone, especially animals.
in the indigenous way, they are considered our relatives, from the roly-poly on the ground to the soaring majestic eagles and everything in between. You know, they're part of us. They become into our spirits, into our souls, into our hearts.
They have feelings just like you and I. And I think that anybody who abuses anything alive is not human.
We believe that there's one God, that we are all connected on this Mother Earth together, that the Creator has given us that feeling, that spiritual feeling to care. So if you go against that, then you're going against our Creator. You're going against nature.
One of the main principles of Hinduism is ahimsa, which means nonviolence. The same divinity which is in me is shining in the heart of an animal. You can't ignore that fact that we are all intertwined together.
According to the ancient Vedic tradition, every living entity has a soul.
The life inside of an animal is not any different than the life that's inside of us.
So one should not have any violence against any other soul. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there's no need to eat other animals and cause violence.
Animals and all life on the planet are sacred. They are creatures of God.
in Genesis, it states that I, God, am in covenant with you and them equally.
God's dream for the world is that we are in perfect relationship with God, with one another, and with the planet and all living things. And so it's all about right relationship between us and all of these creatures, including this squirmy puppy.
In Sikhism, our core fundamental belief is that God created everything, and that light and that love of God flows through all things. By seeing an animal as an object, you're treating that animal that he's less than you. And if God created all things, how can one be greater or one be less? They're all created by the one God.
Zoroastrian religion believes that all of God's creations are sacred. They all have a divine spark of God in them. We have a duty and responsibility to take good care of animals and treat them with love and kindness and compassion.
Animals are part and parcel of the creation of the world and the continuing creation of the world.
So our belief in Judaism is that God never meant us to actually eat animals. In the Garden of Eden, God shows us the fruit of the trees, the grass in the fields, and says, you may have any of this to eat. But God never mentioned animals.
There's a whole section of the Talmud that's dedicated to what we call Tsar Baalei Chaim, avoiding cruelty to animals.
Compassion and loving kindness means that we want to alleviate all suffering for beings. This is the core of Buddhism.
All sentient beings have compassion.
Chinese Buddhists especially, we're vegetarian. So we practice vegetarianism because that we don't want to take a life, and we shouldn't take a life.
We are one. We're interconnected. And to save them, we are saving us.
Anything that we see in terms of the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom, it was created by God as a way to worship Him.
In the Quran, we're taught that the animal kingdom is a community unto itself, just like humanity. We're supposed to provide for them. We're supposed to treat them with respect and dignity.
Compassion is actually one of the highest attributes of God. When we read the Quran, the first thing we say is, in the name of God, the compassionate, the dispenser of grace.
The animal realm is perfectly in tune with nature, and so there is a kind of nobility to the animal realm that we don't have in the human realm, which we definitely should have. Nature is perfect, but we interfere with nature in so many ways.
When we talk about Jainism, it is really a strongly believer of ahimsa paramo dharam. Ahimsa means non-violence.
Our responsibility is to be non-violent through mind, speech, and actions.
We view animals or all living beings having the same soul, having the same consciousness that we human beings have.
They have the same soul and same feeling as humans. So that's why we definitely do not hurt them. Forget about even killing, we don't even hurt them, we just take care of them.
You can interpret Jainism as a religion, but you can also interpret Jainism as like the basic thought of caring for other creatures.
As we cannot give the life to them, we have no right to take the life out of them.
Everybody has equal right to have a freedom of life. And when we kill animal, we are taking away that right from them.
When people are cruel to animals, I think what they're missing is the knowledge that that animal has feelings.
Animals are living, feeling, sentient beings with a full spectrum of emotions.
Their heart beats, their minds think, they get scared.
They feel pain, they feel joy.
Just like we do.
They shouldn't be caged, they shouldn't be whipped and abused to perform things that are unnatural to them.
When they're free and wild, they should be left free and wild.
Without a doubt, when we harm something, we're not seeing the divinity.
And so, well, that means if I'm hurting somebody else, I'm hurting God. And if I'm hurting an animal, I'm hurting God.
God's heart breaks when God's creation is abused.
When anyone does harm to another living thing on earth, the Creator shudders. Oh.
In the book of Genesis, it is written, and God gave man dominion over animals. That's a mistranslation.
We hear this word dominion over creatures, and that is not at all what the Hebrew word is meaning for that.
It should read, and God gave man responsibility or stewardship. It shifts the whole notion of it.
We're not meant to dominate. We're not meant to exploit.
We do not believe that, the animals are only to be used.
The land and all that's in it belongs to God, and we're here simply to take care of it.
It's our duty to do that. We've been put on earth to do that.
How beautiful life would be if we are respectful of each other.
If all the people in the world have compassion.
If we can get people to change their consciousness so they no longer see animals as objects, then that changes everything.
There is a zeitgeist moment that is coming where more and more people are becoming vegan, vegetarian, more and more people are becoming aware of the animal kingdom and that they are to be treated with reverence and compassion and respect.